What's up, everyone? It's Teddy, aka James Kazal on MTGO, coming back to play some Grixis Control. Now, today I really felt like playing Jace the Mind Sculptor, so that's what we'll be doing. I'm playing 2 to maximize my chances of A, drawing it, and B, resolving it. It's just such a cool card, 3 modes when it resolves. Not many Planeswalkers can do that. I think very few, in fact. I think it's just like Chandra Torch of Defiance also has 3 modes available when it resolves, I think. Is that right? Yeah, it can make red, it can impulse draw, and it can deal 4. But this video is not about Torch. It's about Jace. And the other cool thing I'm doing is just running 2 Murktides main, so we can close the game more quickly and consistently. Over in the sideboard, I think in the last video I mentioned a Scaminator matchup is still very mystifying to me, so I'm on 2 Spell Bombs. Aside from our Scaminator, it has a lot of utility against Uro decks. Dredge hates it. Oops all spells if you just sit it and play, which we might see later. Oh yeah, the other thing is my recording footage kind of fell apart for the first 2 matches. I'm not sure what happened, so I'm going to do some replays for those because they were really cool matches, and the league went really well. Spoilers. And I want to show it to everyone, so I'm just going to do some replay recordings for the first 2 matches, and yeah, that's the list. Everything else is pretty stock for me. Oh, the other weird thing is 3 Thoughtseizes. I usually only run 2. Ideally 1 main, 1 side, but the meta is pretty wild right now, and also I found Thoughtseize is pretty effective against Scaminator. So yeah, that's the list. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps tons for the channel. And if you want to see tons of Grixis Control content, if you want more than just 1 league a week, if you want 3 or 4 leagues a week, check out the Patreon. Okay, maybe it's not 3 or 4 leagues a week, but I upload a lot there. It's dependent on how busy I am, but at least 1 bonus league a week. I lowered the pledge to $2, which seems like a pretty good deal to me. It's a lot of content, and also I'll really appreciate it. So yeah, that's it. Let's jump in and play some Grixis Control. So, we're here in the first match. We lost the die roll, and we're about to look at our opening hand. It's a pretty normal hand. It's got a cantrip and 2 lands, with a potential 3rd land, and also an Orcish Bowmasters, which is always pretty darn good, no matter the matchup. Our opponent's keeping 7, so we're like, yeah, of course we'll keep 7. They play Shadowy Backstreet, so immediately I'm thinking maybe Death and Taxes. Black-White Death and Taxes is pretty popular, although that's usually a Yorion deck, so I'm a little curious about what's going on. But then they play Grief pitching Pest Control, and then I remember there's a new scam deck that's black and white going around that's been doing really well lately with Ephemerate, and that card is a nightmare for Grixis Control, so I'm already like, oh boy, this could be a really tough one. They take Ponder, interestingly, which means maybe they're not really gearing up to reanimate the Grief, but we'll see. I played Badlands so I can hold up Lightning Bolt. Next, they play Wasteland, which is rough. In response, I Island Cycle and get a basic island. I thought about replacing my red mana, however, I think it was just a lot more important to have some stability going forward, and they take the Lightning Bolt anyways, because I think they want to just go pedal to the metal here. We draw a land, which is really great, but we can't really do anything, unfortunately. We have to take this 3. Not to mention, I think they probably, if memory serves, they're not really concerned about Bowmasters trading for Grief and dealing 1 to them because they have their own Bowmasters. We're ready to make a 2nd land drop, though, and we top deck Cling to Dust, which is awesome. It can keep them from getting a more insane board, and it can also gain us some life, or it could counter a reanimate targeted at our creature or our graveyard in the paying costs phase, which is a really difficult phase to interact with, and it can gain us some life, which is good because we're getting hit for a lightning bolt's worth of damage a turn. A lot of good things to like about the Cling to Dust draw. And also, it grinds really well in the late game. If we ever get to 4 lands. They have 3 lands over there, and their surveils have been pretty kind to them. They've kept off both of them. We draw land number 4, which is awesome. We're just really hoping our life total holds up. They have 3 cards in hand. It's really tempting to snap bolt this and balance the board, or actually tip the board in our favor. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the replay, Ephemerate would be a complete disaster here. So we kind of have to like make them Ephemerate first, which means trying to block Grief. And I'm going to try to do that first with Orcish Bowmasters. And like I said earlier, it's really no surprise that they have their own. So we're unable to block at this point. All we can really do is take another 3. Land number 5. Not horrible. We have some board presence, but Grief being able to attack like it does, with Menace that is, we're not really in a position to cast Jace the Mind Sculptor, even though they're not likely to have any counter magic. It's very unlikely this is an Esper deck. So they have Swords to Plowshares as well, so they're just kind of like plowing through. There's a bit of tension with Swords and how aggressive their deck is, but I mean, doesn't get better than Swords. Such a good card. Truly a twisted white card. Now at this point, I can't abide taking this much damage, so I'm going to cast Snapcaster Mage and target Lightning Bolt. Then I'm going to line up a block on Bowmaster, I think. Yep. And then I'm going to try and bolt Orc Army Token if nothing else happens. Again, like, you'd think you'd want to bolt Grief, but it's more than likely one of their last 2 cards is Ephemerate. They haven't played a land for a bit. Another land for us is like not phenomenal, but now we're going to play Jace. And draw cards. Okay. It's kind of coming together for us. We need to be patient. If Grief comes at Jace, we'll have spent 4 mana to effectively gain 3 life and Brainstorm, which is not that bad, given that it's completely fixed our hand. But the hubris, just kidding, this player played very well and probably recognized that they need to end the game as soon as possible. But I think not going after Jace here was a mistake. I'm going to fetch on my upkeep and get additional red mana, and then we'll go ahead and Brainstorm again. Now we find Thoughtseize, which is really risky because we'll go to 1, putting us dead to a Bowmaster ping, but we could finally get them to pull the trigger on that Ephemerate that I'm pretty sure is in my hand. Additionally, Cling to Dust gives us some more leeway. Okay, I guess Past Me didn't really find that to be acceptable because Brainstorm just went back on top of my deck. I mean, Thoughtseize. I hope these replays aren't just like horrible content. So then I cast Baleful Strix to get the Thoughtseize. And now I cast the Thoughtseize. Okay, cool. I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't feel that different than I did yesterday. And there's a Solitude. So if I read my opponent correctly, this Thoughtseize should take an Ephemerate here. And it does. Having that out of the picture is really nice because that card is incredibly busted. Now, I feel like between Cling to Dust, we're a little choked on black mana, but between Cling and Petty Theft, we should be okay. And I really want to Petty Theft Solitude more than Grief. Even though you could argue Solitude's ETB is more powerful, in a way, they're really different. The 5 mana is big here, because if they top deck Ephemerate, then they can't cast Solitude and Ephemerate. And then I'm going to gain 3 heads up here before they draw for turn, once I know what their hand is. And now they're like, oh crap, I better take care of Jace, but I think it's too late. Next, they're going to reanimate my Snapcaster Mage, not a bad top deck, and target reanimate and really blow out their board here. Yeah, their board is mighty. However, we have a Bowmasters in hand. So we're going to take out their Bowmasters and then Brainstorm. That found us even more Bowmasters. So we should be able to hold on at 1 life if we deem a block suitable. All the while, we have a Brazen Borrower, which can fly over all 3 creatures they have in orbit right now, and might even convince them to hold on to Solitude until I cast that. Because the board has really swung. That is the power of Bowmasters. Not only is it effective against, combo or decks that draw a lot of cards, but it really is effective against creature strategies as well. So I think pretty easy triple block here. I'm fine to go to 3 against a deck without Lightning Bolt. And this way they can't cast Solitude and blow out a potential trade. If I blocked with only 2, Solitude could come in, exile a creature, and then Grief gets a chump block off me. So that's no good. I'm fine trading 2 creatures for Grief. Menace is just it's a real sword of Damocles when you're at such a low life total. I've been saying that a lot lately. I need to dodge Bowmasters here. If they do have Bowmasters, I'll cast Cling to Dust in response. But this Strix is important to get in. If I can trade it for the army, that would be great. And then we rip an amazing top deck in Narset, so I cast that too. And hopefully find Bolt here. Yep. It's really nice when all that comes together. We were almost due to find another one anyways. So it wasn't too lucky of a rip, but it still feels really good. I think this game was a good example of you really don't lose until you have 0 life. So just remember, don't get discouraged if your opponent's beaten down. Okay, the button's not really working. Let's just go to the next turn. There we go. Okay. So our Bolt is face up. They top deck a land, which is probably not what they wanted. And now they cast Solitude with 1 white up, which makes me think about Ephemerate. They're also attacking. And they're attacking me. So I let that one through. And now getting an additional card off Narset should be lights out here. It's even Kolaghan's Command. Very good card. So I'm going to pick up Bowmasters and have them discard. It is indeed Ephemerate, so I'm going to Bolt in response. Just kind of forcing their hand on that is really nice. So now I get Bowmasters. I can take out their army token. I'm way ahead on board. I still have this Brazen Borrower in the wings. I have a Snapcaster Mage in hand, and they have 0 cards in hand. Reanimate's probably their splashiest draw, but even then, they're probably loath to take that damage. They draw Troll of Khazad-dûm, which I can block, but is making things kind of complicated. And I did not come across an Edict. Or I did not hold on to an Edict, at least. Okay, Nimble Obstructionist is not a bad draw. I think the goal here was to triple block, if they let me, if they didn't draw Bowmasters or something, and then deploy a couple of flyers. Yep. Swing for 6, and then snap Bolt. If they have Solitude and Solitude their own Troll, we'll still have the blocker in Snapcaster Mage to hold on there. But whatever they drew is not helpful. It might have been Reanimate or something like that. So yeah, that was game 1. Now, sideboarding against this deck, I did something kind of insane, and on the draw no less, I took out all my Force of Wills, my Murktide Regions, Narset, even though it's really good at pulling ahead in card advantage. Yeah, I guess I just supplanted any card advantage I might have lost by setting out Narset, by also setting out Force of Will, so I wouldn't be 2-for-1ing myself. And I just figured that like everything this deck does, I can answer with my traditional cards. I don't need to fight on the stack so much. So I sided out all Force of Will. Also because like I don't think I'd ever really played against this deck before, so I was trying some strategies out. It's the first match in the league. Nothing is really on the line. This channel's all about learning, I think I was saying while I was recording. Unfortunately, it was not recording. There was no footage being made. So yeah, those were the cuts, which meant that Spell Bombs, Surgicals, Flusterstorm, Force of Despair, all those came in. We have a lovely hand here, and they're taking a mulligan, so things feel good for us. They're starting out with a scrub land, but nothing else. So that is a huge relief for us. That allows us to start by casting a Spell Bomb, I think. Yeah. And we draw Kolaghan's Command, which is really great. The only problem with this hand is that we don't have any way to find more mana. Stoneforge Mystic. Under most circumstances, that would be very scary. However, with a Lightning Bolt and without them representing Ephemerate, we should be able to just bolt this and continue developing along the way. And they got Cauldron Complete, so they're not messing around. I'll never understand how this replay function works. Like I was pretty sure this button just goes to the next like play. Okay, so another thing we could do is just Thoughtseize Cauldron Complete, hold on to our Lightning Bolt for a better target, because having a Squire in play is like not that great. It's really good against Bowmasters if you're trying to push damage with Bowmasters, but normally you don't really mind Stoneforge being in play if they're not using it to do very tricky things around counter magic and things like that. And then I think I made a mistake here. I think I should have taken Bowmasters because I have the Spell Bomb, but at the time I really wanted to get another card off the Spell Bomb. And also we see 2 Wastelands, and I think I was betting on them wasting my Volcanic Island, so I was going to cantrip with my Spell Bomb next turn. And I guess for that reason I think I took the Reanimate. It was like the most efficient spell they had. But yeah, honestly, like probably should have taken Bowmasters. I did feel a little discouraged though when I saw the double Wasteland and Bowmasters. Yeah. Additionally, they see that I'm not making an additional land drop, so it's pretty attractive for them to go ahead and Wasteland me. Also at this point, cantripping with Cling to Dust becomes more attractive than with Spell Bomb. I can sit Spell Bomb in play. And we're just going to have to take our punishment here. They get to cast Bowmasters and put a steeper clock on board, but there's just no way we can't try and find a land drop, or else the game's over. Can't play without lands. Or can we? It's a spoiler for later, but we may have won a game where we kept a no land hand. But yeah, no spoilers. Okay, luckily, not only does Cling to Dust come up with a land, but we also top deck one, and we can continue to play around Wasteland, even though they've already used 2, so I might have gotten a C here. No. Yeah, I say I'm not losing to anything. And also, like, we don't have any blue cards in hand either. This makes my top decks a lot worse, but I'm banking on drawing a land before a blue card by doing this. Given that Jace is a 4-drop anyways, it's pretty free to get Swamp here. We take 3, which is a lot. We're down to 12. But with Nile Spellbomb sitting in play, we're cutting off a lot of their really good progressions here. They have 2 unknowns in hand. Hopefully that Kaldra is just kind of whatever. Lightning Bolt, another great draw, but there's no way I'm not casting Bowmasters in an attempt to balance the board here. It goes wrong a lot of ways because of cards like Ephemerate, and I think maybe for that reason I sought to kind of handle everything in the blocking phase, or the damage phase rather. So I can't remember what I did exactly yesterday, but I'm pretty sure I cast Bowmasters, ping Orc Army token, and then just line up blocks on both of them. Okay, and there's Wasteland number 3, so I was incredibly rewarded for not getting Underground Sea. Okay, yeah. Past me agrees with present me. And they decide to swords my Bowmasters, but I still get the 2/2 out of here, which is great. And a top deck basic island, so I don't even have to spend a life. Feels good. I'm going to main phase this Bowmasters. We dodge Ephemerate. The plan was to just Lightning Bolt. If they did cast Ephemerate, they only have 1 white up. And it's not great, obviously, but at that point we're essentially trading Bolt for Ephemerate and Bowmasters for Bowmasters. So the math checks out, but luckily we get a full good exchange, and we get to keep Lightning Bolt. And their last card is Kaldra. They take a draw. It's a scrub land, so they're 2 land drops away from Kaldra, which is pretty scary, but Jace can bounce the Germ, and then we just really have to make sure we're handling the board, because equipping anything with Kaldra, well, it's a bit of a nightmare. Flusterstorm. Way too late for that to be good. And without Swords to Plowshare, or without Force of Will in my deck, we're looking to probably get rid of this as soon as possible via a Jace 0. They don't do anything the whole cycle. However, now they have a hardcast Grief, which is rough, because it's a really good card. So they would rather discard Troll of Cause of Doom than Kaldra Complete, which kind of makes sense, because Kaldra is a stickier threat than Troll, even though Troll would come down a turn earlier. So yeah, really interesting decision by our opponent there. I'm sure they made the calculations, and yeah, I guess the longevity of Kaldra as well, as something you can equip to a otherwise middling creature later on. And they're at 18, so yeah, they probably have plenty of time to deal with it. Sadly, Grief takes our plan for the long term, which was Grief. And it was also our plan to turn Flusterstorm into a relevant card. Once again, they don't have a play. We draw Surgical. I might have glossed over that, which is a bit redundant with Spellbomb, but it's nice to have that redundancy when they've only seen 1 reanimate so far, and it's kind of one of their splashiest spells. Scalding Tarn is good. Now we're ready to cast any future Jace we draw. There should be 1 still in the deck, right? Oh yeah. Okay, they're going to cycle Pest Control. And in response, I extract Bowmasters, because the redundancy of Spellbomb made me feel like I didn't need that, I guess. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the calculation was there, but a game without Bowmasters is one that heavily favors me. So we look at their deck. They sided out, I'm not sure how many Pest Controls are stock, but they only have 2, it looks like. Lion Sash would be a beating. And we don't see a Batterskull, which is great news. Full 4 Wasteland. Sword of Fire and Ice is also a complete headache. But I'm very happy to remove Orcish Bowmasters from the game and also increase our clock ever so slightly. So they top deck Grief. We're ready to bolt that. And they can take Flusterstorm because it is, like I said, pretty useless at this point. We draw Strix, which is amazing. And Ponder. Casting that immediately. And we see nothing that great, so I think I shuffled this. Yep. We end up with Ponder, which is a good draw, especially now that all their Bowmasters have been removed from the game. So if they draw a land here, they can cast Kaldra, and we're a little soft to that, but they draw Voidwalker instead. Notably, you can't cantrip with Spellbomb when there's a Voidwalker in play, as the bomb never hits the graveyard. We'll attack for 4. Brainstorm. I brainstormed mid-combat. Oh, crap. Sorry. I didn't think that was going to happen. I think I was looking for another Bowmasters because it would have turned this into a 2-turn clock versus 3, but I find Cake Man, so that happens anyways. Shoot. Could have talked through that decision more. Anyways, instead of opting for that 2-turn clock, I wanted to just control the board and also have them discard Kaldra, so I don't have to worry about that coming down. We get the GGs, and yeah, Orzhov Scam. We should have the tools we need to pull this matchup off, but there's no denying that they can get underneath us. Just the Grief Reanimate shell is so powerful at handicapping your opponent and making sure they can't really develop, which kind of happened, but we really hung on for dear life in game 1, and then turned it around. Game 2, I feel like we had our feet underneath us more or less the whole time. It could have just ended if we didn't top deck those 2 lands. Well, Cling to Dust helped as well. So, but yeah, we did it, and starting the league off great. All right, we came back winning the die roll for match number 2, and huge shout out to Don't Force Me Bro. Very cool opponent, very fun to play with, and is apparently a fan of the content. So if you're watching this, hey, thanks so much for being a part of the video. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the games. So, starting off, we have one of the weirdest hands of all time. It's not often that you get an opening hand with 2 lands and neither of them make blue mana, but it does happen, and you should mulligan it. And then you mulligan, and then you see... Oh, that's right, I already reviewed this footage a little bit just to make sure it worked, because, you know, when I realized I hadn't recorded the live footage of me playing, and I really wanted to put this video together. Anyways, okay, so this will just, like, pop up twice. It's going to be kind of funny. But we're not insane. We didn't say, like, the same exact things to each other twice in a row. This is just like, it just happens when you watch a replay. Anyways, so they keep 7, which I'm like, this could be a little rough, because I can't keep this hand either. Not without knowing what we're up against. Like I said in the last match, there might be a match coming up where we kept a no-land hand and won, but no spoilers. We're going to have to make do with this, and I'm wishing I kept the first hand, because it would have been better than this 5. But there's always the chance that they're going to go all in, or they're Doomsday and they have Duress, or like they just don't play around Nimble Obstructionist because nobody does. However, someone who watches my content will probably play around Nimble Obstructionist. So if they're on Doomsday, I don't find it reliable. I'm just going to keep all the 2-for-1s and try and recoup my mulligans. Bloodstained Mire go. But yeah, not a great start, obviously. And it happens. You can get unlucky. Okay, they lead with a Soul Land into a Soul Cauldron, so I immediately think this is Red Painter with a Phyrexian Devourer combo built in, which I've been seeing. I think I've been showcasing it quite a bit on the channel lately. Despite this land not making red mana, I just have to basically not fail any top decks if I want a shot here. And I bend the I kept the Lightning Bolt, that's right, because it's such a good card in the matchup. And I should be able to find a third land between Strix and Cling to Dust. There you go. Once you play enough reps with this deck, you just kind of know more of what to expect, and it's pretty likely to hit your land drops when you've only seen like 3. A lot of land in this deck, or Lorien Revealed even, which would still find red mana because our Volcanic Island is not in our grip yet. They're following up with Phyrexian Dragon Engine, which will beat Baleful Strix because it has double strike. So this is no longer an acceptable blocker. They still have 5 cards in hand, and bolting Dragon Engine doesn't feel great, but I don't really have any other options because I need to try and extend this game a super long time until I can like cast Cling to Dust a bunch, which doesn't even really make sense against a Soul Cauldron, but you know, what choice do I have? I gotta do my best here. Drawing Murktide would ordinarily make me pretty happy in a low resource game if I need to like flip the script and end it quickly, but this deck likely has Red Blasts in the main, and also Soul Cauldron is going to make it impossible to cast. Never mind it being big. Even putting it on the stack is going to be hard. But yeah, I need to bolt there. Even though I'd rather bolt Goblin Engineer or something like that, which they do have. They're getting Breya's Apprentice, so they're also more interested in grinding. They see I'm on low resources and know that if they go all in on a combo, they're more likely to get unfavorable exchanges that way than if they just like kind of pile on the resources and make me interact through that. I draw Thoughtseize, and I see a hand that emboldens me, quite honestly. They have a backup Cauldron, which doesn't do much since it's a legendary artifact, a Petal, which doesn't matter because they have so much mana, and then a Swords, which is also a card that's not very good against me. So I start feeling like I could have a chance. I take the Swords because I don't have any real plans to destroy the Cauldron. And that way I can like hold the ground with Strix here. It's completely crucial for me to exile that Breya's Apprentice though. So something else I could have done is take Lotus Petal, and then they wouldn't, I'm just thinking of this now, but I like, whenever I'm thought seizing and I see a Lotus Petal, admittedly, and unfortunately, I kind of go on autopilot, and I just don't think it's like an acceptable choice because it's not really a card that Grixis Control is trying to fight your opponent on. We're not ever really trying to mono screw our opponent. But if I had taken Lotus Petal, they wouldn't have an expendable artifact to sacrifice with Goblin Engineer. That being said, it's fairly likely for them to draw into such a thing. I think the deck also has Mox Opal in it. So, yeah, who knows what truly would have been the best choice there, but it was something to think about. Instead of activating Engineer, though, they are going to unearth their Dragon Engine, which I have nothing to say about. It's a one-shot situation. I'll take 4. And yeah, I just have to fight over that Breya's Apprentice. It's so much value. Way too much value, I would say. And that way, Goblin Engineer also doesn't become a 2/3 for whatever that's worth. Alright, Dragon Engine's gone. That's gone. They have 3 new cards. Very scary. None of them seem to be lands, right? Oh wait, no, they played Wood Foothills that turn. We draw Badlands, which is like not a great draw, but I figure I might as well cast this Murktide right now while the Soul Cauldron can't really interact with it. And all of a sudden I'm like seeing a way through this, even though we mulled to 5. But then again, they are a deck with Swords of Plowshares, probably Red Blast as well. So we have to dodge quite a bit, but we could pull it off. They have Fable the Mirrorbreaker and Swords. So between their draw step and Phyrexian Dragon Engine, they did get what they needed. We draw Lorien Revealed. Oh, they also had Red Blast. I think it makes sense to Swords the Murktide, even though it gives me a lot of life, because Red Blast probably has more utility against other cards as well. And with the second Fable, I think from here it's pretty elementary. They're just like gonna crush me on the value game, even if I resolve this Lorien Revealed, which would require me to also draw a land. They're just making too many bodies. I Petty Theft one of the Shaman tokens just to try and keep the board under control, because Petty Theft doesn't really have any other good targets. And then I'm going to try and limit their card selection a little bit here. Yeah, they're fine attacking in here. That 3/3 is pretty big. And if they have 2 Reflection of Kiki-Jikis, it's just kind of, we're kind of screwed. Even having 1 is a problem. I find Jace off of Brainstorm, and instead of bouncing the Shaman token, I'm forced to bounce the Goblin or the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, just so it can't activate on Goblin Engineer and end the game on the spot. They replay the Fable I bounced. I bounced to untap with Jace, because you know what the saying is, if you untap with Jace, you win the game. This is the exception that proves the rule. I found a Thoughtseize, which is not bad, but I think I just need something like way more impactful to try and fight back through this game. Another Jace is cool, but unfortunately won't do it. I give them the opportunity to mess up, but they keep the Reflection around, recognizing that it is a completely busted card, and yeah, it's pretty much over from here. I'm just going to kind of let it play. We're really behind in the value game. Let's see here. There we go. Oh, I also forgot to mention they play a Saga, which is like 2 more big creatures we'll have to deal with. Super big thanks to all these treasure tokens. I can't protect Jace. It's going to go away this turn, so there's no reason to block. And they have Painter Servant. So on top of everything, they can tutor a Grindstone next turn. Cast Jace. Draw cards. Get a Ponder. Cast a Ponder. Shuffle. End up with a land. And scoop up. Yep. Pretty wild stuff. It could have been a little different maybe if I didn't mold a 5, but when they started chaining the Reflection or the Fables together, it's really difficult for Grixis Control to beat that. So we're off to game 2. So, sideboarding against this deck can look a little strange, but generally you want to minimize the effectiveness of their Red Blast. So big expensive blue cards like Jace and Narset are good cuts, and also Force of Will to an extent. Then I bring in 1 Surgical, because ripping out something like Grindstone or Painter Servant, or even something like Devourer when they're going for their combo, if they have a really fast Goldfish, having free interaction with the graveyard is important. And then Hydroblast came in, of course. And then Opposition Agent as well. Even though they have Swords to Plowshares, they're not as dedicated to removal as a traditional control deck, so you can really catch them off guard, especially if they tap out to make a construct and then Saga Chapter 3 goes on the stack, or is on the stack usually. Opposition Agent can blow them out like that. Our hand is like perfect. We have Bolt for an early Welder and Meltdown to take out their whole board. Now if they do play Welder, we're going to engage in some mana inefficiency and not Bolt it, because Bowmasters lines up really well against Welder and not so well against most of the other cards in their deck. And they do have a play, and it's Goblin Welder, so that's good for us. I believe I surveilled here as well. Yeah. 'Cause even though sometimes Blood Moon is part of their plan, we should be able to beat that. I put a Spell Bomb on top because it's really relevant against this deck, even as just like a value play. Nuking their graveyard and drawing a card is very nice. Now they play Elegant Parlor, which means no 2-drop. No Goblin Welder is nice here. Gives us a turn to just make a land drop. Important to note they did Surveil to the top though, so we can expect something next turn. Next we play a land. Or first I went to combat, see if I could bait anything out, which might change what I do on my main phase here. But nothing happened, so instead I'm going to run out the Spell Bomb and hold up Lightning Bolt. Maybe not run Strix into a Red Blast, even though it wouldn't be the worst. So there's a Great Furnace. That's free money for Meltdown. And they also have a Soul Cauldron, which will make things kind of difficult because we like to use our graveyard. There is some tension between Spellbomb and Meltdown. I think this is one of the only matchups where they both come in. Like, I wouldn't bring in Spellbomb against 8-cast or something like that. I guess Black Saga Storm is another deck that I would bring them both in. But they address such different parts of the plan that it doesn't ever really feel like they're stepping on each other. So I'll play out Strix here, mostly for the cantrip, because when I Meltdown, I'm likely going to do it for 2. I'm good to ponder here, and these cards are all super relevant, especially Kolaghan's Command. I'm putting the Thoughtseize in hand, but I don't want to shuffle. Bray's Apprentice. Card is very strong. Could really set them back with a Meltdown for 3. But I don't think I deemed it necessary. Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah, that was the plan apparently. I'm not entirely sure about that now. I might have been a little distracted by something. But there's no question it really sets them back. Now they have no Soul Cauldron. Sets them back a land drop when they didn't make one last turn. And I'm still sitting on Thoughtseize and Kolaghan's Command. If I really didn't want them to untap with Apprentice, I could have just bolted it, but I mean, pushing damage is good too. Who knows? It's not what I would have done today. But it did result in the game win, so can't say it was too bad of a play. Okay, they follow up with an Engineer. It's nice to have Bolt for that. And they put Devourer in the bin. So that tells me they might have another Cauldron in hand and are looking to set up a combo. So I'm good to Thoughtseize. That went really quickly. And yeah, we see their hand is Pyroblast, Soul Cauldron, and 2 swords. Don't mind the swords because the Murktides are out. Right? Or did I keep those in? I guess I kept the Murktides in just because having a big creature is cool. I think I would have rather had Jace than Murktide, though. Nah, whatever. Apparently I was a little kooky when I was playing this game yesterday. And then Soul Cauldron gets beat by Kolaghan's Command quite easily. And then Cling to Dust if they try and make moves on a combo. Should be able to handle it. Bolt the Engineer, and I still get to push damage this way. Unless they swords. Which they might do. Yep. And I guess exhausting their Swords to Plowshares on these smaller creatures that have already gotten their value for the most part could clear the way for a Murktide Regent. They're playing the Cauldron. They have 1 unknown in hand. Does not seem to be a land. And I don't cantrip in this scenario just because Cauldron can blow it out. And we're still pushing damage, so we're in good shape. Also, they're not activating their Cauldron, which means they are sitting on it for some reason. But I'll get them to pull the trigger on that by casting Kolaghan's Command on it. And they discard the second swords. Now it's probably worth seeing if they'll at least want to trade the Orc Army, or maybe I don't even want to put that in their mind. I just want to get them to 0 permanence here and push damage, which with Snapcaster Mage Round, we're pushing pretty hard. Yeah, that's good enough for them. So we take it to game 3. Now for game 3, doesn't seem like I changed anything really in the sideboard, except I think I took out one of the Thoughtseizes maybe? Yeah, I think on the draw I had an additional Thoughtseize, or on the play I had an additional Thoughtseize. Hand is good. Certainly strange to have Kolaghan's Command and 2 basic islands. It's like the opposite of game 1 first hand where it was 2 bad lands. But yeah, this hand is perfectly keepable. Opponent's taking a mulligan, which is also really good for us. We're really going to hope to leverage the amount of cards we have in hand to our benefit here, which is good because we have Force of Will. And right off the bat, we hit one of the requisite lands to cast Kolaghan's Command. And they're going to Red Blast Ponder. I think that is perfectly fine play if you just want to stymie my development and also not waste your mana, push your advantage. But it's not one I really mind. But they don't know it's in my hand. They have a Saga. Between Petty Theft and half of Kolaghan's Command, we're not worried about the board side of that. And then Baleful Strix makes that even better. Really stretching their removal or their constructs while drawing a card is incredible. That's probably what they would have wanted to Red Blast. So there's Great Furnace. Meltdown's looking real good if we ever find it. And here I think I chose to Brainstorm. We miss on a fetch land, but we do hit land number 4, which is good. Bowmasters is not very relevant right now until they play Welder, or if we melt down and they try to rebuild with Saga and don't have additional artifacts, we can pick off constructs with Orcish Bowmasters, but for the meantime, I'm going to file that away. And given that I might Brainstorm again next turn, we might even continually just kind of push it towards the bottom of our deck. I don't think I attack here. Yeah, it would be a little greedy, even though I'm planning to Petty Theft. Yeah, it just seems a little greedy. They could get like Lava Spur Boots. They could even do some fancy stuff with Soul Cauldron and put Lethal on the board. So yeah, that attack I think would have been entirely wrong. So it's Petty Theft there, and then hopefully Force of Will can keep us alive if they do manage to combo. They're getting Mox Opal, so yeah, they're looking to have some resources, and they have a Grindstone as well. So if they had LED and Painter in hand, we would have to force to avoid getting ground out. Another Brainstorm. And we see a way to shuffle, which is really nice. I can't remember exactly what I did. I definitely held on to K Command and Force of Will. So I likely put back Bowmasters and what was it? What was the other pitch? Was it Cling to Dust? Seems wrong. Yeah, let's see what I did. I think probably Cling, right? Oh, Lorien Revealed. That's interesting. Okay, that makes sense though. Next turn I can just use it to get my land drop, shuffle away Bowmasters, and if nothing happens, I can play Brazen Borrower and start to clock in the air, which is big game. All the while I don't attack. They exile my Brainstorm, sure. And then they drew all 4 Soul Cauldrons, so their hand was 3 Soul Cauldrons. I remember they revealed hand at the end, and I guess they just felt completely brick-walled by the Baleful Strix. I feel like we did have some good development coming. GG's opponent, we had a really good time playing, I think, and are talking back and forth. So, yeah, good luck out there. Red Painter is an awesome deck. I always love running into it. Okay, so from now on, the matches will go back to the live format. So sorry if the format's a little jarring, but I really do like displaying the trophy leagues, so you kind of get a sense for why Grixis Control would be a fun deck to pick up. Welcome back for round number 3, up against Nubrak, who I believe plays Doomsday, and this is a pretty bad hand against Doomsday, but also I don't even... Do they play Miracles? I can't remember. Maybe it would be unwise to just throw this hand back if it is blue-white control. And if it is Doomsday, we're on the play with a Narset and a Lightning Bolt. It's really just Edict that is not great. They're keeping 7. That's not a very Doomsday thing. I suppose if they're playing Delver, I usually like zone my fetch lands to organize in my mind as like Scalding Tarn Mountain, Bloodstained Mire is black, and Polluted Delta is blue. But it doesn't really matter, you know. Island Ponder. So I suppose you could see Basic Island in Doomsday, but it's an odd land to start with because they usually only run 1. It's a difficult ponder. I assume anyways. It's really warm here tonight. It seems like summer is hitting, which is kind of cool. Everyone kind of starts feeling in a better mood. No shuffle. No Lotus Petal. I'm going to wait a little bit, because also I've seen Back to Basics show up quite a bit lately for some reason. So I don't want to surveil right now. Strix. I don't mind running that out. Kind of played the wrong fetch lane. Yeah, the zoning kind of screwed me in that way. I should have played Delta. So I pivot to yeah, Delta becomes my black mana now. If I was doing this the right way anyways. What do we get off this Strix if it resolves? Kolaghan's Command. Beautiful. I have a lot of 3-drops in hand now, but I think we'll be okay. Prismatic Vista? Okay, I'm starting to think this is probably blue-white control. Prismatic Vista does not show up in a lot of decks these days. You know, this deck could play Prismatic Vista probably, because we play on basics so much, and we have basics of all colors that, in a way, Prismatic Vista is the strongest fetch land here. But I'm used to this mana base, and I feel like it would change too many things in my head if I had to start thinking about it that way. Just the ability to get dual lands off a fetch land is just so important. But in a 2-color deck, seems pretty good. Another Prismatic Vista. Are we going to see like a Teferi or a Narset here? Yeah, there's a Plains. Oh my god. And me without a Bowmasters is kind of rough. It is Narset. Resolves. No activation. Force of Will. Sure. They might be setting up like for Days Undoing or something then, which is rather scary, but I think Snap Edict should do the trick. If I can get my own force, I can't, That card is pretty good, especially in a slow, grindy matchup like this where you just want as many bombs as possible. Could also just play my own Narset. That'd be pretty funny. I think that's better than like getting on board. Force of Will pitching Dress Down. Okay. Well, if they've thread this perfectly, I will be sad because I'll have no hand. But it's good to know that the Snap Edict line wasn't going to work anyways. Yeah, they seemed real eager to do this. Nimble Obstructionist. So they likely got us here, unfortunately, but this matchup should be pretty good. And there's back to basics. It's everything I thought would happen here is happening. If I can just kind of treat that as like a weird card that turns two of my lands into Lotus Petals, I can get a mountain with that. They had a very strong hand. They had Narset, Double Force, Double Blue card, and Days Undoing. So I can't be too upset. It's also weirdly not over yet. Like, they could have just drawn a ton of lands. But I don't want to run out Nimble because I'm pretty sure they have, like, swords or something. Snapcaster Mage is cool. I'm also not above hardcasting a Force. I don't know what to tell you. They might have just wheeled into a ton of lands. And now the gulf, like, is not that wide. 4 to their 6. I'm still ahead on board. They have more mana than me, but who cares about that? Screw beats Flood. Dress Down. Yeah, sure. Someone told me that's a 2-for-1. But I still have the Baleful Strix. If it countered Baleful Strix and drew a card, that would be a 2-for-1, right? I don't know. Sure. Now we're hitting for 2 a turn, which is insane. Okay, they've had enough. They won't put up with my Strix shit anymore. Yo, that is not that bad for me. Oh no! Okay, well, I really want to cash out these map tokens. So I guess I'll try and cast Nimble Obstructionist at some point. Weird pause on the draw step. They might have drawn Terminus. Fourth Aerlingus. Probably going to force back here. I have a feeling. Like, what else could be in their hand, you know? Yep. Alright. Could have countered that, but I think having a body on board is better. So the way this could work, I guess, is if I get my damage through, hit for 3. So I guess I should do this before they draw. And then draw a bolt for turn, and then a bolt off my Monarch trigger. That'd be pretty cool. Another force? Alright. Alright. Jeez. Just can't do anything this game, apparently. Jace. Probably too late. Yeah, let's go to the next game. This has got to be one of our best matchups. It's too bad that they had so much free interaction, though. Triple Red Blast, got to be good. Flusterstorm, got to be good. I'll take a third Thoughtseize too. That seems fine. Hydroblast, maybe. Do I just need all my forces now? MURK tied out. And Lightning Bolt's not great either, even though it's kind of effective at fighting Narset. I'm gonna lose a land. 2 more cuts. It is funny how close that was, despite getting Days Undoinged. I think that's a testament to how good this matchup is. Hydroblast is a little too narrow. And I'm going to go with just 3 forces is fine. Yeah, the second they did not activate that Narset, I knew something was wrong. Yeah. I'll make this work. It's not that important to Thoughtseize on turn 1. We'll be using Cling to Cantrip. The cards are good for the matchup, but yeah, not seeing another land, only seeing 1 land in that ponder, and not having additional cantrips is a little rough. I'll take half a force just because Get Lost is, it just doesn't really matter to me. Alright. Can I get a land? Oh no. This will be a really embarrassing loss. Triumph. Triumph is good. Land? Thank goodness. Petty theft. Seems like they're maybe thinking about a Force of Will there. Sure. Seeing that land get passed over is a little harsh, but I think we'll be okay. Probably see a hard cast St. Catherine here. Okay, they're gonna fight back. What will they have if yeah, what are their last two cards, I wonder? I guess we'll find out, huh? Nice. I want to start using these map tokens, so I think Brazen Borrower is definitely what I need to get in here. Day's Undoing. Wild. Okay. Not a bad spread. Not super inspiring either. Bowmasters is nice. I was hoping to see one of those eventually, so here we are. Yeah, I'll check a bolt. Damage went through. That's pretty cool. Then I wanted to make it through cleanup before exploring again. Only works as a sorcery, of course, but, you know. To fairy. Obviously, you want to hit this with a red blast and not a force of will. There's a red blast. See if we want that edict or not. Ponder's good. And then nothing. Yeah, I think Edict is just fine to draw. Then what was after that? It was a land. Free value. Sure. I guess I'm just passing. Another Triumph of St. Catherine. I don't really want that lifelink to connect. Got them to 11. Narset? I think I'm going to let that resolve. Don't want to walk into a Pyroblast. Not like that anyways. Well, let's test things a little bit here. What if I do this? Or I should do it after they activate. they don't activate. Okay. All right. Bin that. See if I can stick Jace here. That was pretty easy. Another Narset. Targeting Get Lost. I'd rather them not have that. If I can keep Jace around, pretty big game. Lorien revealed. I should probably try to counter that. Alright, now how do I deal with this Narset? I guess I can K-Command and Bowmaster. It's a lot of work. Alright. Another Jace. Might not be necessary. I played a land, right? Yeah. Snapcaster Mage. That is actually a really good one. So we know they have Triumph. They also have Narset. If their last card is Days Undoing, I will lose my mind. They have 4th Aerlingus. That's also pretty bad. They can get 4 2/2s. That's a lot. interesting. So I could save Jace. Yeah, this was a really interesting attack. Okay, so do I finish off this token? They're going to be a problem in the future. Or I can deal 1 to Narset. That doesn't seem quite worth it. Probably just snap Bolt Narset. It's going to be really hard to keep Jace around. I'm drawing a land too. I guess that's not so bad. I need a lot of resources. Okay. Yeah, I need Narset out because, for obvious reasons, I need that monarchy. So I can snap Bolt and cast Jace. So I guess I should do that. Gotta see if this works first. Okay. All right. I could bounce 2. Yeah. Play another Jace and bounce another one. Just attack with Bowmasters. Protect the monarchy. So I know they have a Triumph, but I guess if they have really any other card, we're not in good shape. So with that in mind, maybe I just play Jason plus? Is that insane? Alternatively, I could brainstorm. It could give me force blue card. Could. But I kind of like fighting the board. Also, now they have to like make a kind of bad decision. Do they go after the monarchy or Jace? None of this matters if they just have another 4th. Days Undoing weirdly good against Bowmasters as well. Since the turn ends, all those triggers disappear. Well, I think if they had another 4th, it would be like pretty straightforward what to do right here. So I'm grateful for at least that. It's really tense. I'm ahead on board, but all my creatures have 1 toughness, which is a little scary. Okay, they're going to combat. Attacking me. Yeah, I'm comfortable just throwing these 2 under the bus here. It's fine. Prismatic ending, sure. Please be Triumph. Okay, cool. Good draw step. A lightning bolt. Not one of my better ones. I get a monarchy draw as well. It's a lot of good stuff. But if it misses, like, it's not good. I think the safest play here is bounce Triumph. And between Cling to Dust and the monarchy, try and come up with a better plan. Okay, that could work. That just might work. And they don't shuffle. Narset. Okay. I do have a bolt. And if their last card is Days Undoing, like if they don't activate, I'm gonna let that resolve. Okay, they're activating. What do you get? Force of Will. Is your last card blue? It is. Okay. I'm going to exile that. Strix, beautiful. And Edict. It's not bad. Pyroblast. Feeling pretty rolled up now. But let's just get this thing out of here. Alright. That was a lot scarier than it needed to be. And like Fourth Aerolingus is kind of their best card against us. Just because it can make so many bodies in one card. Yeah, this is almost more like Show and Tell than it is Blue-White Control. So maybe I do want all 4 Force of Will. And should be less concerned with, like, I don't know. Nimble Obstructionist has some pretty cool case uses, but in general, I think I'll cut Kolaghan's Command, just one of them. So much of their removal is exile based. Force of Despair is good against a fourth, but that's about it. I have a lot of cards to fight fourth with. And then it's not super effective against Triumph of St. Catherine. If it exiled, that would be one thing. But black doesn't get a lot of exile removal. It's just pretty much like Anoint with Affliction and a couple other random ones. Baleful Mastery. Hand looks good. Any hand with a red blast is pretty good. And also Bowmasters does some pretty annoying things for a blue-white deck. Okay. We'll lead there. I like Flusterstorm. Very effective at fighting 4th Erlingus. At the beginning of combat, they're going to Island Cycle and get Volcanic Island. So yeah, I think their back to basics are likely out of their deck. In an emergency, I guess we can Pyroblast it. But obviously not really what you want to do. Alright, well, next turn is the magic number, so I want to be ready to Pyroblast a War of the Spark 3-drop Planeswalker. And then if I can counter it with my own Narset. It's not as big of a hammer as it used to be because of Get Lost, I guess. If they don't do anything, I'm good to play Bowmasters here. At the very least, still 2-for-1. Unless they have, like, Terminus or something, I don't know. Dress Down? Sure. I can live with that. Backup Narset. Still seems a little risky. I mean, I have Force of Will. The payoff is so high. We're just in there. If I can get a second card off Narset, that'd be pretty incredible. Two fetches. Do they have 4th? Yeah. Another red blast. Lorien Revealed is likely the safest take here. Because I need a land pretty badly. Yeah, I might as well just do that, right? My counter magic is good, despite costing mana. Could be worse. It could cost 2 cards. I honestly do think that is kind of worse right now, since I have my mana underneath me, more or less. Jamming again. Wonder how many of these they run. A complete Psycho line would have been force both copies of Flusterstorm. I've seen it happen. Edict. Okay, let's brainstorm. Oh, gnarly. So gnarly. Does that mean I play Narset to clear this stuff? Puts me shields down. Can only cast 1 red blast anyways, so yeah, I think I'll go like that. At the very least, I can like maybe start grinding with Cling to Dust. I'm glad they're not a Wasteland deck that I know of. We haven't seen it yet. If they have 4th number 3, that'd be pretty wild. Tundra. I thought for sure they were going to like try and Mystic Sanctuary that. Get lost. Yep, can't argue with that. Although it could help me dig to a land. And Prismatic Ending. Tough. That is a lot of unfavorable exchanges though. Like Narset got 2 cards. And Bowmasters they actually kept pretty good parity with. Because Dress Down came down and drew them a card. And because of Mystic Sanctuary, I think I'm going to hold off on Cling to Dust. Now I'm getting my 2 for 1. Problem is, this is so embarrassing. I missed so much damage there. I'm just going to keep all my mana up. I've changed my mind. You shouldn't do that though. You should own up to your mistakes for sure. Alright, counter that. Gotta be wary. Beautiful. Guess I'll do it again. Honestly, yeah, I think so. Well, no. They're at 12. Soon to be 9, I think. Yeah. And I might just draw it if they go for Sanctuary. They don't. So, why not? Wonder what the deal is. If they have Days Undoing in hand as well, I think they'd probably likely want to send that. Yeah, Get Lost could represent a lot of damage that you shouldn't have to take as a control deck. Although I guess the idea is to just make sure they don't have creatures anyways. And then hopefully someday I can cast this Jace. Alright, got there. See you in match 3. Welcome back. Match number 4. We've lost the die roll. Our opponent's on 61 cards. Which, I guess was stock for elves at one point. But other than that, also maybe 4-color Loam was a 61 card deck. They're taking a mulligan. Maybe that 61 card, that famous 61 card lack of consistency is coming through here. Or maybe they saw Bosch and Roll, his recent video running Mill, was like, oh shit, gotta be able to get a leg up on Mill. Alright, they're good on 6. Wild Cantor. Oh, is this Oops? Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Undercity Informer. Do they have another mana source? They sure do. Me without a Force of Will. Look at the cards. Don't have a lot of tech for this matchup. Cabal Therapy me. I'm out. For this reason, I'm out. They didn't have a Pact of Negation either. Okay. Force of Despair does not work here. because they have Bridge from below. Flusterstorm's not bad. Now Spellbomb is pretty darn good. Surgical Extraction also good. Thoughtseize is good. Opposition Agent can deal damage, and also messes with Summoner's Pact. Edict is poor. Kolaghan's Command is too slow. Nimble is nice. Bolt is okay. Like if they played Informer and had to pass the turn for some reason, we could have bolted. But those are like hands that rarely come up. But it's non-zero. But we can definitely go down on one bolt. And then yeah, Jace is a blue card, but not really for this matchup. Yep. If I can just pass and sit like a Spellbomb in play, usually in pretty good shape. They can't Pact of Negation this either because they'll lose on their upkeep before they can even combo, unless they have Leyline of Anticipation. Passing. Snapcaster Mage. Well, it's more damage, so it's never a bad thing. Start the clock. Memory's Journey. It's a cool card. Alright, entirely operational here. 2 pieces of interaction with Kling, going after Thassa's Oracle, or Flusterstorm to stop them from going off. Agademe. Dark Ritual. Informer. Well, that halts our aggression. Xantid Swarm is another reason why you would theoretically keep your lightning bolts in too, although Bowmasters really shores that up as well. So we didn't get to see how they sideboard, but it's probably for the best if they don't go off, you know. Okay, all our free interaction is in. This is the tough one. We're on the draw. There is some consideration for Red Blast to fight Pact of Negation. But that is asking for a lot of mana on the draw. Yeah, I could trade a Bowmasters for a Red Blast, but a lot of the time Red Blast is just kind of rotting in hand. I mean, this is what you want. We will hit lands eventually, and if you can just stop them from going off, it's usually good enough. But this hand is completely unhinged. But it's one of those weird oops keeps. They're good on 6. All right. Chromox. For green, Xantid Swarm. Force of Will. Down to 3 cards over there. Do we hit a land? Not yet. Yeah, we're just kind of chilling. There we go. Cool. Should be operational soon. And if we can just get 3 mana for Nimble, then we're really cooking. Yeah, I think I'm interested in the absence of any action, probably like Brainstorm and then Surveil. Dark Ritual. Balustrade Spy. Force that. Yeah, I think that's good. Another ritual. Informer. Yeah, I'll stifle that. What could that mean? Another bolt. Okay. Well, pretty low resources over there, but I do need a way to win. Like Bowmasters. Shields down, but with only 1 card and 2 mana, I'm not concerned. So they have Informer in hand. Yeah, they're putting me the test. I'll pass the test. So Lorien Revealed is on top of my deck. I'll probably shuffle. Brainstorm after that. I just want to see like as many cards as possible here. Cling to Dust or Fluster. probably cling. It's a lot more safe. Cabal Ritual. Balustrade Spy. Damn, they're hitting. Pretty sure I can just like cling the Oracle though. See what's going on here. Yeah, there's only one Oracle. What could go wrong? Memory's Journey costs a green that they don't have, and they have no cards in hand. I really don't see how this goes wrong, but I'm still scared. Alternatively, what can I hit? Reanimate? No. Where's... Oh, there's Dread Return. There's one Dread Return. I'll feel really stupid if I miss something here. But yeah, I'm just not seeing it. Is there that Jack-o'-lantern card where you like exile it from your graveyard and make mana? Sorry, everyone. It's probably really simple, but... Cabal Therapy. Yeah, they can try to aggro me out. I mean, I can untap and just cling Memory's Journey though, so it's not really a thing. Oh, and I tapped wrong. I could have like bolted Bowmasters and got rid of the bridge. Yeah, if they Dread Return out a Wild Cantor, targeting me with Balustrade Spy though. Do some milling. Yeah, I think maybe the line was to get your Wild Cantor back. So is maybe the line always to hit Dread Return? Just make sure I'm not missing anything here. I think it's just one Memory's Journey. Yeah. This should work. Okay. Sorry that took so long. It's just so, just, you don't want to screw up, and I'm like reading the screen. Okay, cool. Trophy match coming up. Another week, another trophy match. We have a Forced Thoughtseize hand with 2 lands. Bowmasters. It's a good hand. Opponent taking a mulligan. I would like to keep Fuya. It sounds familiar. Delta. Grief. So probably Riskaminator. Pitching Entomb is interesting. Either they have another one. Okay, they're taking Force of Will. Might see a Reanimate right now. And then we just have to beat this thing. Yeah. Do they take Thoughtseize now or Bowmasters? Thoughtseize. So they're still up to no good over there. Got it. I think I have to ponder here. Gotta try and find a better tomorrow. Cling to Dust. They have 2 cards left. Can they afford to wasteland me? And then Murktide Regent's also an important component here. I wonder if they're working with 1 land. I mean, they still have a whole another main phase after this, but let's see. Yeah, 1 lander. We got a bit of hope here, I guess. Time to chill. In the absence of a play, I think I can brainstorm at the end of turn. They also could be sandbagging a wasteland. Something they could do. Okay, no end of turn Entomb. Got it. Yeah, moving some stuff around via brainstorm would be nice. Narset, not the best. Land is good. I think I'll just redraw one of these. That's totally fine. Well, that worked. We're going to see another Reanimate. Do they have days? There's a lot of questions here. Okay. I'm going to try and cling that. They do have days. Okay, well, I think they'll probably take Murktide here. Yep. Brainstorming now. probably wise. They're also down to 11, so we could get into a pretty weird race. Situation's a little tough. Hopefully we draw a 4th land before a red card, but obviously not a guarantee. Strix. Is that better than Bowmasters? Could hit a land off this. Okay, we do draw a red card before a 4th land. It's a little unfortunate. I'm assuming they're going to ditch that. Oh, interesting. I guess, no, that would not be a new card scene. So I'm not sure what they're gearing up for here. Not a bad draw. I want to see what they do. I'm going to go for Badlands here. And then represent Cling to Dust, I guess. Oh wait, they know it's in my hand. No real reason to do this. Force of Will pitching Daze. Okay. Well, I guess we're counting on double Bowmaster to take this Grief out. If they have 3rd Daze, that would be a bummer, unless I draw a land here. 4th Bowmaster. Or 3rd, rather. I mean, if their last card is Daze, it's kind of like, whatever. Alright. Board is big. We have 1 card. Mulligan really helping us out here. Bowmasters, sure. We're way ahead on board and can use Cling to Dust to gain life. Hopefully the 3rd Bowmaster will just do it for us here. And they're drawing blind. They're not doing anything. Another K command sure is nice. Can't be better than pushing damage though. Chump block. Entomb reanimate's kind of off. Animate dead, not so much. Okay, they're forced to ponder. Sometimes you just gotta. And they didn't even want to see what they drew off the shuffle effect. Okay, somehow we're up a game against our Scamnator. Take these spell bombs. And the surgical. Jace is not super impactful in the matchup. And Kolaghan's command kind of goes back and forth, but I think Narset is actually a little harder to defend on board. I do like having a bunch of Thought Seizes too, because the information is really important in a deck that can pivot so easily between like creature beats or combo. Man, Force would be so good if you didn't have to spend 2 cards casting it. And then we don't usually get to the really grindy spot. Sometimes we get into a top deck war. And Snapcaster Mage is good, but the true 2-for-1 there is a little bit stretched by the fact that it gets picked off by opposing Bowmasters. On the play also, Opposition Agent's pretty darn good. Recently with my Thought Seizes I've been taking Entomb over the reanimation spell, which seems kind of weird, but it's been working out. And it really just came from trying whatever against this deck because I've been kind of at a loss in some ways. Also, we've totally nuked our curve, and top decking is so crucial in this matchup that on the draw I go down to 18 lands, even though they're a wasteland deck. Seems insane, I know. But I think I've gone insane. And yeah, we really want to avoid having a hand with more than 1 3-drop, or really any 3-drops, unless it's Brazen Barber, because that's good against Troll. I'm sure they'll take the play here. We're quite a bit up on clock, but that rarely matters in this matchup. Hand is good. Sitting a Spell Bomb in play really constricts their options. Fetching right now, so they're going to ponder. Yeah. They might still cast a Grief after this, but we might get away with something here. If they daze our Spell Bomb, we don't have to expect a, we don't have to contend with like Entomb Reanimate. If they force Spell Bomb, that's really scary because that probably means that they will combo. But if I can get the Spell Bomb down, I'll feel like I'm in pretty good shape. Okay, no Grief. Ponder. Not a bad follow-up. That's what I said, so this could get pretty scary. This is where a second layer of protection would have been really nice. Also seems like they probably don't have days at this point. Alright, well, they just pitch cast a Grief, so does that mean the last two cards are Entomb Reanimate? I really hope not. That'd be insane. There has to be a Bowmasters in there. There's always a Bowmasters. If they take Ponder, we'll really know we're in trouble. But they take Bowmasters, so I think we might dodge. Animate Dead my Bowmasters. It's a bit of a squeeze, but I think we can do this. Brazen Borrower's a nice draw. Narset. It's another good draw because they don't really have onboard power. They have one power on board. I think I'll probably even ambush Viper this army token and then just sit Narset in play. We have to hope they don't combo after that, but I think we'll be okay. And then also kind of have to dodge another Orcish Bowmasters here. Well, we're going to blocks. Okay. Reanimate Snapcaster Mage. Sure. Now reanimate Grief, probably. It's quite the board they have. So now we really need to top deck well. I think they'll take Narset. Yep. So what helps here? Lightning Bolt. Cool. Bolt there. Play a Strix. Damn, they drew a Daze? Bummer. We're a little ahead in this top deck war. Because I have a Ponder. But I mean, still pretty scary. Okay, they drew a land for turn. And it's worth volunteering that information because they can use that to surveil. We're under the gun, but I think we can pull this off. Yeah, there's Brazen Borrower. That's a good one. Bend that force. Then I'll let them make their decision before bouncing my Snapcaster back to the hand. Grief in the yard. There's that Underground Sea we knew about from the free cast on Days. Now we have a force in the grip. Which I don't really mind if they grief away. Not interested in taking another 3 though. Resolves. Passing. Okay. Blue card would be nice. I guess I can hardcast this force. And in the absence of anything else, I can cast Brazen Borrower, which is also pretty good. Brazen Borrower. I'm gonna let that resolve. Ooh, they're attacking. So what does that mean? Did they draw Bowmasters? Doesn't seem like it. Spell Bomb. I'm gonna sit that in play. Cuts off a lot of draws for them, because they can move to like reanimate one of my Bowmasters or something. Okay, they're holding black now. Good news for us. Nice. There's no real reason to attack with Brazen Borrower. Unless I just really wanted to force that trade, which I don't. Brainstorm is good. I need to like cut their mana. So if they have Bowmasters, they'd also need land Bowmasters as their last 2 cards to beat this. Well, they're tanking. It's a little scary. We have a lot of draws that get there, though. Land, okay. No attack. What does that mean? If their hand is Bowmasters, Bowmasters, we could be in trouble. We draw Ponder. Not bad. First, we'll make them have it. Force a Will. Okay. Petty Theft. Okay. Rough. I am going to shuffle that. Murktide Regent. Yeah, I'll sit that in play. Will I? Is that better than... Yeah, I think that's better than trying to like use Snapcaster Mage and like swing for some kind of win. This thing will be bigger. And then all the while, Spellbomb should police their tough draws. Douthie Voidwalker. I think we just win then, right? Attack with Snapcaster Mage on the ground. Might as well keep my Tarn in the graveyard, though. These creatures don't block. Alright. Well, we finally converted a trophy, and it feels really great to do against our Scaminator, even though I feel like that was a very atypical way that matchup goes down usually. This deck felt really fun. All the while, it didn't really feel like the optimal way to play Grixis Control, just because 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor, 2 Murktide Regent is, yeah, it feels really different than what I'm used to. In fact, 1 Murktide main one side was what I felt really on fire for leading up to MXP San Francisco. But some days you just really want to resolve Jace and like ponder your options. It's a really fun card to play with, and I think we had some really interesting decisions in match 3 about how Jace can control the board, particularly against creature tokens. So hopefully that was very instructive. And then yeah, Orzhov Scam, be on the lookout for that deck because it has been making the rounds, and Pest Control really gives it some tools that it didn't have before. And yeah, match 2 was a lot of fun. Always loved playing against Red Painter. Thought this was a great league. What can I say? Yeah, I think that's it for now. 3 Thoughtseize is also really interesting for this meta. Cool. Well, thanks for sticking with me. I'll see ya in the next Grixis Control League.